Welcome back to Surviving and Thriving, where we share with you the things that we have learned as we have transitioned our family from struggling to survive disease to thriving, right smack dab in the midst of it, in the hopes that something that we share with you will help you, enlighten you, and encourage you as you transition your family from struggling to survive disease to thriving, right smack dab in the midst of it. When you're overcoming health issues, chronic illness, disease, you can be overwhelmed because there's a lot of things that you have to do. If you're in a crisis mode, you're doing a lot of things to try to get out of that crisis mode. There's a lot of areas in your body and in your life you have to tend to. If you're not in a crisis mode, there's a lot you have to do to stay out of a crisis mode, maintain where you are, and progress to get to a better place, a better level. There's always a lot of things that we have to juggle, and man, it can be so overwhelming when you're trying to figure out, right, how do I get in the things that I need to get in, to do the things that I need to do to get better, to get from one level to another level, to maintain, right? Sometimes it's not how do I get the things that I need, but how do I do the things that I need to do? That's not getting, it's just doing, right? And you can feel inadequate, like you lack the ability. You sometimes can feel like you lack the ability not only to just do the things that are around you, but to get the things that you need to get. You know, it could be accessible, but you don't have ability to obtain it. Sometimes it's not even accessible, and you got to try to figure out, how do I get what I need to get? How do I do the things that I need to do? There are so many ways, you guys, that we can feel inadequate, deficient in ability, in accessibility, right? And that can be overwhelming. That really can be overwhelming. So I want to talk to you about that today. First of all, know that when you don't know what to do, when I don't know what to do, all right, I always talk to the Lord about it. I pray about it, and I meditate on it and see if I feel prompted or led in any direction. But a lot of time what I need will come to me. But also know that you can research some things and find out some things, because the more you research, the more that you'll find, and sometimes you'll find what you're looking for somewhere else. Or sometimes it could be closer to you, could just be hidden, because sometimes the best things that are out there for you are not widely known. There's a lot of stuff out there on the internet that will try to clog you up from getting to what you need to get to. If you're looking up anything, how to do something naturally or naturopathically, a couple years ago you could pull up a lot of naturopathic information. Now it's nothing but, the Mayo Clinic, WebMed, all these medicinal mainstream things, and you can't really get the access to the pure things that you need that are non-medicinal sometimes. So just be aware of that. But when you're out there and you're feeling like you're discouraged because you need to do some things, you need access, you need ability, or even just the things in your everyday life you're struggling with, trying to feel like how can you be able to do all these things, and you're feeling overwhelmed, what I want to tell you to do, what I have found that is most helpful for me. Now remember, in your life you got to do what's best for you, because every family is different, every situation is different, every person is different. But I can only come at you from what I know, from experiential, from things that I've gone through, things that I've learned, things that I've done, and I have found that have worked over a vast amount of years. And that's what I'm going to share with you today, as what I always share with you. What I have found is whatever I have, right, ability to do, that's what I need to do. It's not so much about going out and bringing in more. There may be something I need. There may be a herb that I feel like could help me. There may be a treatment or a therapy that I feel like that can help me. But if I don't have the ability to access it at that time, I have to do what I can do on the rounds in which I can do it until I can get to a place where I'm able to utilize that. If you need to build strength and you don't have it to be able to go to an outpatient physical therapy rehabilitation center, or if you don't have it, to have somebody to come in and to do it with you or for you. There are things that you can do in your own home that doesn't require outside people to come and help you. So you can do those things in your house until you can get to a place where you can hire out for someone to come in, or you can get provisions in place for you to be able to go out, or to get a gym pass, depending upon where you are in your walk. There's a lot of things out there you can do. If you're not familiar with the things and you don't have the access to talk to people about it, go on the internet and find some things. Be selective, be discerning when you're looking. But there are some things that are out there that you can do. There was a time when, the gym wasn't the best thing for me to do. But I was also at a place where certain things weren't easy for me to do, or I was actually utilizing. I had people come into the house. I was doing outside rehab, but there was other things that I needed to do. So I was like, stirring a bowl was very, it tired me out a lot. If I was in the kitchen trying to cook, I really couldn't stir. Kneading was really hard for me. Sweeping was really hard for me. I still have challenges with sweeping. I can sweep, but it depends on how big of the room is. Mopping right now kind of wears me out, right? But sweeping, I got that down pretty good at this point. I can do pretty good on that. But there's things that you can do that can help you even while you're trying to get the things that you need to do. My point is, don't get overwhelmed because you can't do all that you need to do and just say forget it. Never do that. There are things that you can do in the meantime. If you got multiple issues going on, multiple areas that you need to work on at one time, work on what you can work on. Do the part that you can do. The reason why that's really important, that you don't just give up and do what you can do, well, there's a lot of reasons. I'm not going to go over all of them, but I am going to share one thing with you, because there's a lot of things out there that when you do one thing, it hits multiple things. It hits more than what you think that is hitting. And sometimes if you're working on one area, that one area could be what's causing a problem in another area. So if you're doing that one little thing, working on that one little area, it may free up some issues in another area. But if you're doing supplemental things, if you're taking supplemental things, if you're doing a lot of essential oils and things like that, one oil, one herb can affect so many areas of your body that you might be taking it for one thing, thinking it's helping you for one thing, but it's doing a lot of things and clearing up a lot of things at the same time. So whatever little bit you have, just do the little bit that you have ability to be able to do. And as you're focusing on doing the things that you need to do, some things will clear up for you. Your ability to your ability to do will increase for you greatly. I can tell you and share with you a prayer that I prayed a lot. And basically, you talk to God however you talk to God. But my prayer was, Lord, give us ability. We lacked ability to do a lot of things. We had wisdom in a lot of things. We had the knowledge. We had the desire and the will to do, right? But we just didn't have the ability to be able to do it. And so I prayed a lot for ability, and I have seen God many times grant me that ability because I worked what I could on the level in which I could, and He blessed me and gave me ability. There were some other things that we just didn't have access to. I have access to some knowledge that I needed. I didn't have access. I had knowledge, but I didn't have access to be able to get to the things that I needed to get to. But then so I would pray for access, and things that I didn't know were around that were available, I was able to get access to it, or doors open up so that I can gain the access to what I needed. So you don't always need a whole lot of things. You can sometimes feel like, if I get this, and this, and this, or I have access to this, and this, and this, then I can work on this one problem. I can handle this one thing. Sometimes you might need all of that, but if you work on the little bit that's available to you, right, it'll open up so that you can have access to get all 5 of those things. So do what you can where you at. Work with what you got, right? And then let what you got open up doors for you. Let what you got do what it needs to do, and you'll see that it can produce more for you than you thought that it could produce for you. So any little bit that you can do, you may not be able to get up and run a mile, right? But you might be able to walk around the block. You might be able, I used to just walk up and down the hallway in my house, because that was about as much as I could do. But the little bit you can do will build upon it. And I'm going to tell you something, that sometimes when you're working, right, whether it's a physical thing or you're working something for your body, anything that you're working on, it looks like it's not changing sometimes. And sometimes you can see the change, but it's not great enough to have this big, effect, right, to be impacting. And it can be discouraging, but don't get discouraged. You got to keep going at it. You got to keep going at it, because the more you do it, the more you see that you're able to do more, the more impact you're able to see. And even then, when you're seeing a lot of impact, it may not be as big as you need it to be, right? And that can still be discouraging, because you can say, whoa, this is huge improvement, but then it's really not huge. I hope you can understand. If you've been there and you're going through it, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But I'm here to tell you, there'll come a day, right? Sometimes it's going to take, most times it's going to take way longer than what you think, okay? Or what you feel is adequate. And so sometimes it can take a year. Sometimes it can take 2 years. Sometimes it can take 3 years or more. But if you stay consistent with it, whatever it is, right? However amount your time, if it's a week, 2 weeks, a month, 3 months, wherever your thing is that you're working on, if you stay consistent with it and not get discouraged with it, there will come a day where, boom, it opens up for you. And it's like, whoa, it's a miracle. But you know it is a miracle, but you know that you put in a lot of hard work, and this wasn't an overnight success. This thing took you a lot to get there, right? But there'll come a day, right, where it opens up for you, and you got that thing that you were looking for, where the impact is explosive, where the impact is noticeable, not just noticeable within yourself, but like blatantly noticeable to all eyes, to all people. Sometimes some people will notice some things that you can't really see, or you can't really notice, because you're so bogged with all the things that you got going on. So when you hear somebody say the little bit that you're doing, and they can see a little bit of change, grab hold of it, hold on to it, and use that as motivation to keep you going forward. I hope something in there was helpful for you. Remember, in all things, at all times, do you. Until next time.